Hey everybody, Mark Agnesi here. We're sitting in my living room once again with my guest today. I discovered a video of you on the internet about early 2017. I reposted it on my page. It got hundreds of thousands of views. We've had a relationship through Instagram and online, and we decided to finally meet today. I thought I was going to get catfished, but everyone, Mrs. Smith is here. Mrs. Smith,
hello everybody, Mark.
So lovely to meet you finally in person.
So lovely to meet you finally in person.
Welcome to California.
Oh my gosh.
Are you enjoying the end of California summer so far?
I absolutely, I love coming to California to decompress because everyone is so chill. And my favorite thing about California is you can only really get 2 errands done in one day. Just because of the traffic. And so it's like, oh gosh, I forgot to pick up toilet paper yesterday at the grocery store. Driver, take me to the, whatever, to Ralph's or to Kroger or to Whole Foods. And then it's like a lovely 3-hour break in the car. And I just look on Instagram and I relax. I practice my scale.
Excellent for social media. Yeah. Now, the last time you were out here was for the NAMM show. We were supposed to hook up after the NAMM show, but you got the NAMM thorax, as people tend to when you talk to that many people and shake that many hands. But
everyone got the.
You were like the hit of the 2018 NAMM show. That seemed to be the only thing that I heard people talking about. Was that your first NAMM show? Have you done those before?
I just find that so interesting. I'm going to pinpoint you on that idea that I was the hit of the NAMM show. It's just, I have seen.
Let's say it wasn't the PRS Silver Sky. That was not the hit of the NAMM show.
Snap! Hey,
sorry.
That John Mayer, he's a babe. He's a babe.
I know.
So, and he can play. So, I'm going to pinpoint you a bit on this idea that I was the hit of the NAMM show, just because it seemed that people enjoyed what I did. It seemed that there was some attention. It seemed that there were a lot of phones coming out. And yet then I get the NAMM and I went into basically a sealed quarantine and no calls. No calls, no agents, no managers, no record companies. I did secure a lovely endorsement from Ibanez and from DiMarzio as well.
So not a total loss.
Not a total loss, but still you kind of expect like a cavalcade. And it's just, what I've learned is a slow burn. Basically it's slow steps, little steps. But it was great fun. I was nerve-wracking to be at NAMM. I didn't know how people would receive me. Everyone is so much younger than me, and I feel like, gosh, I'm kind of dressed sort of proper, but they seemed to enjoy it, and I did meet some really lovely people. Lisa X, the guitar player from Japan, who's a young lady.
I know from Instagram.
And she's playing on my EP, and so it was, and then Pete Thorne, I ran into Pete Thorne, Jared Dines, who's absolutely a doll, and some of those kinds of folks, and then the guys, the guys and gals at Ibanez and things like that.
It just occurred to me that I know all this about the guitar playing and all this stuff. I know absolutely nothing about Mrs. Smith, the person. Did you come out here? Is there a Mr. Smith that you came out here with? Are you, were you married? Had you have children? What? Give me the Mrs. Smith
okay. I mean,
story. I know that's not.
I might have to call up my psychoanalyst. And it's just that I don't really know you, but I will get into this. I will get into this. Mr. Smith passed away many years ago, and he was. I've been married 14 times. And so people say to me, Mrs. Smith, are you going to get married again? There's proposals and offers that come rolling in from everything from princes to, trailer park kings and people like that. Guitar shredding fans. Mrs. Smith, I throw myself at your feet and I go, please don't. You're already so dirty. You're already so dusty. Oh, get up. Let's get you a shower. Let's get you some new clothes. I will not marry again. Mr. Smith was the last. He was the greatest. He had the least amount of money. And he seemed to like me for me. Before Mr. Smith, the 13 before, it really was me just trying to survive.
Yeah.
Because people have to understand, the generation, as a woman that I grew up as, you weren't taught how to take control of your life. It was, and especially from the class that I came of, it was find a Yale man, find a Harvard man, connect up with him, join the club, do the philanthropy. And I did that for decades. And I became a shell of a human being. This might not be anything your viewers can relate to.
Well, then let's bring it around then to when did the guitar come in? Were you always a guitar player? Did guitar come in after I'm sorry, I don't want to hit on any sore subjects, but
No, it's all right. It's great.
it
No,
is
I
a
love
guitar
talking
show.
about, I know
so,
it is a
we're
guitar
gonna have to
show.
talk
No,
about
and
this
I
at
was
some
just
point.
hoping we could sidestep that issue. And but so what it comes down to is that I was raised by a madman. My father, a madman, a brilliant, charismatic madman. He was the kind of Irish side. Irish side, musical, charismatic, witty, would possess a room, cast a spell over a room. Women, men, everyone was entranced with the wit, with the musical ability. The singer, he was a poet, he could do anything. He was a lawyer, and he was a drinker. And so that was our undoing, and not like you. And then to your mother,
Not classy.
the English side,
No.
internal, very poetic, very intelligent woman, very caring woman, but father lost it all. And we ended up on a farm in upstate New York, and I'm just realizing this as I sit here, how potentially explosive our relationship could become. Because I almost just said, he was like you. Papa had an incredible, gorgeous collection of vintage guitars. This may be why I despise vintage guitars. And so he had these incredible, because he had been a lawyer, and he had these beautiful guitars, and he could play them. I mean, no lessons, no schooling, a natural. He tried to teach me, but then he would always just black out and fall down a flight of stairs. I think I learned a G, a C, a D, and that was it. But he said, there's something here with you, kitten. You know, there's something here. I could pick up stuff. So I think there was a genetic, ability. But then I went off on my journey. I married 14 times, and I ended up living in a high society, kind of, how do we even describe it? Prison, a velvet-lined cage of money and prestige. And in the 90s, I was married to, this is a long story. In the 90s, I was married to a marshmallow magnate. And I had really become kind of calcified into a Chanel suit. I don't even think I could have taken the Chanel suit off at that point. Or the mask of the social persona.
No.
And all of a sudden, one night, a van up the street, right? And I went, who's out there? A black van. And then these black men in black with hoods and black and leather and chains. And somehow they had a key to the penthouse apartment. And I thought maybe they'd come to repair something. And boom, 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 up the stairs, the boots. And now I had been kidnapped 4 times before this, because when you're wealthy, this happens. And I had done the trainings, I'd done the seminars, I'd done the retreats. So I knew everything to do to survive. And the worst part about being kidnapped is typically the food. But this time, I had never been kidnapped by musicians.
This was a band, or was
it? It was a Norwegian death metal band. That I'd grown quite desperate, and they'd read about me in the society pages, and I don't know how they found me, I don't know why they did this, but they nabbed me up, dragged me to Norway, stuck me in a closet, and via the Stockholm Syndrome, I spent 3 months in a closet with only a guitar, and through the door, I could hear their rehearsing. And as this drama unfolded internationally, now Patty Hearst completely stole my moment, but as this drama unfolded internationally, the money wasn't coming through. My husband wouldn't pay. Interpol was pressuring him. They're going to harm this woman. And he said, I don't have $5 million. He had $5 million. And eventually, I had to seize control of the instrument. I had to seize control of the band. And I abandoned all of society, joined the band, and we spent a good time. We were pretty big. I mean, people who know Norwegian death metal, like really the sub-genres.
Yeah, there's a lot of genres.
I was a thing back then the fan base was about 20 people. But they were committed. And we did take over the Eurovision contest. We won. You can find the tapes. And it all ended in a hail of bullets and fire. So they did perish in a house fire. And there I am, flames rising. I'm in the corpse paint, dressed as a death witch, crying and saying, thank you for the abilities. And
Do
then
you remember being in the closet? What were like the
Oh,
licks? Do you remember
yes.
the licks?
Well, there were books in there. There were tapes, but I could never see anything because it was pitch blackness. And let me see what I can get here. The archetype of the devil is more than meets the eye, and that's what I discovered in that closet. So in the closet, there's nothing, I mean, this is what I heard.
Just a very faint whisper of scales or...
Yeah, and I just started to go, because there was nothing else to do, and it was just... Just find your way. And that's why it's very difficult for me to think of a tutorial series or for instance these gourmet guitar camps.
Oh yeah.
I want to do one. I don't know why I haven't been invited to any of them yet, but I want to do one of my own, but where each student is kidnapped, is simulated, kidnapped, and held in a closet. And my legal team is exploring kind of the consent issues, the multiple...
Well, you have to keep it a surprise, or else you blow the whole thing.
You have, and that's the thing. So you put it in like a footnote, right? On like, sign this disclosure, footnote 5, C, tiny print. You'll be kidnapped, but don't worry, you'll come out. Real chops.
Now, do you think had you been kidnapped by, a blues band in Austin, Texas, that you would have just been playing Stevie Ray Vaughan licks, or was there something else drawing you to the shred other than the Norwegian death metal band that...
I just don't know that blues bands have the kind of energy in their bodies to kidnap somebody. And I don't say that...
Yeah,
I mean, I don't say that... That's not a dig to anyone, but I don't think that I just really don't think they've got it in them. But these death metal kids, they were driven.
Business, yeah.
They were driven, yeah. And so, that's the story.
Once you got out of that and you started to kind of embark on your solo career, now that you had that shred basics kind of thing going on, who are really your influences or the other guitar players that you were trying to steal licks from or really try and study the shred style from once you kind of developed your own thing?
Well, there was a flower guitar in the closet, that guitar is in Italy right now. It's being...
When you say flower, you mean like the Ibanez gem with the floral...
It's an Ibanez guitar with flowers.
With the flowers on it.
Yes,
yeah.
And it has a handle on it, like a purse. And I thought, this is like my purse. I love this guitar. And it's in Italy right now. It's being altered. There's a shaman in Italy. Well, she's not, what I love about her is she's a shaman, but she's also really deeply embedded in the Catholic tradition. So she's doing basically an Ave Maria ritual on the guitar. Because there's been so many problems with the guitar. Now this guitar, I don't know why, but it was a big part of the attention getting that I got playing on the sidewalk. People said, oh, that's that flower guitar, I remember that from another time. And from some other guy, that's not me. And so, but what people don't realize, but they say, oh, that's the best guitar you could have. And it is the most beautiful guitar ever. I believe it is the most beautiful guitar ever. But people don't realize there's so many issues with that guitar. And is it easy to play? Yes, it's easy to play. But there are so many spiritual problems, because you have to understand, it was in a closet with a satanic Norwegian death metal band for years. So the negative ions, for instance, there was an imp around the tone knob, just a little mischievous imp. And I had psychic after psychic after psychic surgeon trying to extract it. And they would touch it and then vomit, And I go, are you all right? And they'd be yellow. And they'd run fleeing from my studio. And I'd be like, are you all right? I'll pay for, if you need to go to the urgent care.
No.
So there's a lot of spiritual issues with that guitar, but something is embedded in it. And there were little books in there, and there were little audio cassettes. So I would press, and I'd be hearing music, strange music, but I didn't know the music or who was playing it.
No.
You know, like things like so like that was in there. And I thought I liked the song. I'd be dancing in there and I'd be learning it, but I didn't know who played it or why. And then I came out and I realized that these are all famous people. And then when I meet the famous people, it's awkward because they know who I am, but I don't know who they are. And I just say this to anyone who's famous who's watching. They know you have committed, you know, that you're an influencer.
Kind of a big deal. Yeah.
I know there are famous people watching. Famous people, if I meet you and I don't know who you are, please take no disrespect. It's just that there's so many of you and there's only one of me. So it's so hard, you know what I mean? I know, but that doesn't come out the wrong way.
I get you. I understand. Who would win in a boxing match? Steve Vai or Yngwie Malmsteen? Sorry, we're going to get deep here, people. We're down to the boxing match question. Who would kick the shit out of the other one in a boxing ring?
Okay.
Steve Vai or Yngwie Malmsteen?
Depends when.
At what era of Steve Vai or Yngwie? Okay,
There's
let's
no
say
doubt.
1985, right in the prime of both of them. Like skinny Yngwie, Steve Vai, still with David Lee Roth.
I say push it back to Crossroads era. I think Steve Vai, because now, okay, so I've had to learn about all this stuff on YouTube. And what's so wonderful.
Which is a great resource.
A great resource,
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
confusing. Because you meet someone like a Steve Vai, you know, and you're like, I was watching your video today, but now you look very different. You know, because you can't tell when anything was filmed. Because it says posted yesterday.
Yeah.
Because some kid posted it from his phone. But then you meet them and they look different now.
Yeah.
They look great, but they look different now. Now, I think a boxing match, all right, Yngwie has intensity on his side, and he is an elemental. I've said this many times. Yngwie is an elemental. I got into a fight on Instagram with a fan.
Yeah.
I didn't block him. I know I've stopped blocking fans. But I did get into it with this kid on Instagram, and he's like, because I did a tribute to Yngwie in my State of Shred address, saying how musical he really is. And people criticize him as saying having no feel, and I think there's so much feel in that playing, and so much musicality. And when you listen to people playing it badly, you realize how hard it is to do well. And he said, yes, but Yngwie isn't nice. Well, and I don't know that from experience. I cannot comment on whether Yngwie is nice or not, but I just have to make the point. Happy people don't make history, kids. You know, tune in to the fact that most legitimate geniuses are unhappy, and that's their business, and enjoy the music. And if you think maybe your hero isn't nice, enjoy the music. Don't approach them after the show. Just don't go up to them. But if you go up to them and they're crabby, they're living in an elemental state.
Yeah. Leonardo da Vinci was probably an asshole too, but that doesn't discredit all of the great things that he did.
Exactly.
You know, so
and it's this whole thing of everyone's going to be like chill, someone you want to have a beer with, someone that is totally laid back. And like, have you heard the music? Have you heard the Yngwie music? It's not laid back. Newsflash. It's a little amped up, you know what I'm saying? So I got into it with him saying, okay, well, so what if he's not nice? He's still a genius. And so Yngwie is an elemental. So he is like something like an immortal, or something that is descended from Mount Olympus, or some kind of Nordic kind of force that's come on. And so he's living and suffering in the mortal world. Now, Yngwie is to be Yngwie probably is to suffer greatly. To be surrounded by fools and mortals and people who can't play as fast as you and who want to know how to play as fast as you. Now Steve Vai is different. In the 80s, he was some kind of a creature, some kind of a possessed person, possessed with a kind of wildness, kind of untethered. So I think, actually, he would have won back then. Now, Steve Vai is very new age, he's very relaxed, he seems happier, he's calmed down.
Pacifist, kind of.
He's a pacifist. I think he's a vegan, so he might not have the energy to fight.
No.
Where I just picture Yngwie just eating just steaks, you know, just like wearing steaks, like a robe of steaks. He gets out of bed with a robe of steaks on, and there's a chef there who just peels off the steak, throws it on a grill, and he goes, rah, you know, and then it's like, rah. I can play like him. And that's my answer.
I've got Steve Vai in round 2. That's what I got in a boxing match. I don't think Ingve's got the stamina. But we'll move on from that because we touched on something.
Did we offend anybody? No.
I mean, I don't think so. I think we're good.
Yeah. You think Steve Vai in the 80s would win, and now he would win.
I got Steve Vai in 2 rounds. Any era Steve Vai over
great.
Ingve. Although I do love Ingve. I give Ingve some shit on Instagram, but it's all loving shit because I think he is fantastic. But
we love him.
You touched on something I want to talk to you about on a very serious standpoint as a guitar player, especially as a shred guitar player. Because
right. First of all, I love that word. Can I just say, people who distance themselves from this word.
I have no problem with shred. I grew up in an era where, I work in a vintage guitar store now, so I'm surrounded by what I call the blues noodles, which is just guys noodling on blues licks. And a common thing that I always hear those guys saying is, too many notes. And it's written off.
What?
It's written off in a second. They say it about everybody. It's just, it's too many notes. There's no feel. There's no soul.
Never too many notes.
But I saw the feel and the soul and the pain on your face the whole time you were doing it. Where do you think who ruined it for everybody with the too many notes? Like when did shred guitar become this thing of the past? Or do you even see it as a thing of the past?
No, it's happening right now. It's happening in my life every day. And I'm surrounded by people who love it. I'm surrounded by people who want more of it. They love it endlessly. Now, I don't do it all the time. It's not something I do. I guess I don't consider myself yes, I'm a shredder, I suppose. Sometimes. I see myself as a blues player that incorporates elements of that. Because really, if you listen to my playing, it's blues-based.
A lot of big bends. And,
a lot of big bends, and I try to make it sing. Not just blaze. But people who can blaze, wow. It's like being in a fast car. It's like taking off your hat. And being on the whatever highway by the Malibu or something, and you're like, we're too close to the edge. Oh my God, you're crazy. I should have gotten in the car with this guy. He might be a psycho, but he's so charming, and he's got such a fast car. And they're going, let's go to the edge. Are we gonna make it? Are we gonna make it? We made it. Yeah. Let's go for a swim. So I think shred is so exciting, but it also feels inaccessible to people. They can't do it, and so maybe they're jealous.
Why is it so inaccessible? Because I see lots of people. It is hard. It's hard. When did being like a really astute musician become uncool? I don't understand the whole thing. I think that's part of the too many notes.
Well,
did it just get so bloated in the 80s that when Nirvana came out, the simplicity of the songs just killed everybody's thing on being a really Olympian athlete at playing your instrument? Did that just become uncool?
I just think things come in waves, and that it just reaches its most extreme point. I do think that, a lot of the fastest playing was early on, but I do think that by the time Passion and Warfare came out, which is a Steve Vai record everyone should listen to.
The audience is listening is one of my favorite moments as a child. I would wait for that video to come on MTV. It was so much more than a song. It was little Stevie Vai is gonna play I think there was a story. There was
theater of the mind.
No, you didn't even have to see the video. You just listen to the album. You can watch the whole thing.
And all the playing and the orchestrations, and he engineered it as such a big rock record. A lot of the solo albums, even the well-known artists, have a little bit of a kind of lo-fi sound, was this done on a little studio or something. But that album sounded so huge, and I just think it was also such a massive statement that maybe it was what else can we do with this style, in a sense? And so people just were interested in maybe slowing down or just focusing on chords or raw power of music or sound. But there are some groups in that grunge era. Soundgarden has fast playing. That's not easy to play.
Absolutely.
How did they play and sing at the same time with that stuff? Tricky.
It is tricky. So, shred guitar is is totally alive and well. There's a
Shred is alive and well. Shred lives on. Wait, I need to do like a Judy Garland style song. I know, because I know that the Shred kids will love it, as will the blues guys. Boom! No, don't tell me not to play fast. Boom! Don't tell me I can't shred. Don't tell me I can't shred. Don't tell me I can't shred. I'll play fast if I want to. I'll play as long as I want. I'll shred all night and all day long. You know something? I need to do an anthem like that, I think. Because what I found online, Shred's alive and well. It's changed. It's shifted, it's morphed. So, of course, you still have the classics going strong, as they should.
all out doing it, touring,
G3,
touring it.
John Fettuccini, Joe Satriani, Steve Vai, all those guys, Edward.
John Fettuccini? I'm not familiar with it.
Is that his name? What is it?
Okay, fuck it, whatever, it's fine. It sounds delicious.
Fettuccini Alfredo.
Yeah.
Guitar camp, the gourmet guitar camps. And they're doing their gourmet guitar camps. Then you have the new generation. Pliny, do you know him?
I'm not familiar. You're gonna have to catch me up because I'm...
Pliny! Australian. Man of mystery. Gorgeously filmed videos. Beautiful. He plays a Strandberg guitar. And
know what that is either.
He's merging shred with ambient music and almost a kind of a new age sound. So it's chilled, it's cool, but it's heavy and it's awesome. You've got Polyphia, those young kids.
Mm-hmm.
They're dancing around in
I've been
pink
seeing.
and blue. You got Chon with their skateboards. They got a dog on a skateboard. Playing fast, but combining it with different sounds. You got Nita Strauss.
She's great.
Is endorsed by Ibanez with a signature guitar. You've got who's like my favorite. Oh, Daniele Gottardo from Italy. Brilliant, taking two-handed to another level. You've got Angel Vivaldi doing incredible stuff. Andy James, and now they're playing, they're touring, they're putting out albums, they're doing guitar lessons, and I think the whole music world has just been splintered and fractured into a million pieces.
No.
And so it very might be the same for the blues fellows. They're going strong, right?
So if you go out there and do it, there's a way to make a living at it. You're waiting for mainstream media to come in. It's probably... although, I want to talk about mainstream media because you've... Tell me about America's Got Talent. How did the America's Got Talent thing happen? I'm sorry if that's a sore subject, but...
No, I've made peace with it. I've had so much therapy over this, so much role playing. Who's the judge now, Howie Mandel? Who's the judge now? Go ahead, put that rubber glove on your head. Go ahead. No one's laughing. And you X, Howie! Sharon, how can you call him a friend? Piers, stop laughing at him. You, get out! That was what America's Got Talent was like for me if I had been on the other side of the table. But I was performing.
No.
And Howie Mandel knows what he said. He knows what he did. And he was booed for it by 6,000 people in an auditorium in Minneapolis.
Not to mention probably tens of thousands of people. All
Yeah.
those, right?
No, it was a very complex experience. I auditioned for a producer in a ballroom at a hotel. And they said, we love it, we get it, and we're going to move you forward. But they kept digging around. They wanted to know my past. They wanted to exploit, like, don't you have cancer right now? No, doesn't someone you know have cancer? Can you show us
Looking
a
for a
CAT
B
scan
story,
that we
yeah.
can show? Yeah, the weepy tail.
The
And I said,
Bible.
yes, I have a weepy backstory. My cat Carlisle has been missing for 2.5 years. And they're like, well, what else do you care about besides that cat? And I said, and they just weren't biting. And so I did perform in front of everybody in Minneapolis. And I guess I can talk about this. I was voted through by Piers and by Sharon, two Brits who loved it. And I recently ran into Kelly Osbourne in Vienna at the Life Ball. She was so sweet. And I said, I know your mom. And she said, I know you do. And you know what I said to her? Because there had been a video of me playing Crazy Train. And she said, I sent your video to my mum. you're playing my dad's song. And I said, Kelly, I adore you. I adore your whole family. And I said, Kelly, Randy Rhoads means the world to the guitar community to this very day. And she said, oh my God, thank you so much. And then she was whisked away. And I wanted to say that to her because I know that he means the world to guitar players.
Those are Ozzy records, but that's Randy. Like, it says Ozzy Osbourne on the front of those records, but if you're a guitar player, those are Randy Rhoads
long
records.
live,
Yeah,
long
absolutely.
live Randy.
Absolutely.
And so I did audition, and it's nerve-wracking because you are in front of 6,000 people live, but then the cameras are moving, and they had gotten me amplifiers and things like that. And then they sent this very labyrinthian agreements and things, and I wasn't sure if I wanted to be judged. And I really love this unmediated contact with an audience. You know what it's like. And I just wasn't sure that I wanted to have these three people in between me and the audience, and they interrupt you, and they stop you, and they talk over you.
Three people who might not get at all what it is that
yes.
you're trying to do.
And I don't know. I was recently reapproached by them, and they said, we get it now, and we want to be true to your story and to who you are. And I was like, I just don't know. But many musicians, this is the path. It's the only shot that they've got. And so they're up there like, well, I'm a singer-songwriter, but maybe I can sing singer-songwriter while I juggle,
really
and set myself on fire, to get attention.
No. Well, America's Got... We don't have to talk about that anymore, because that's not the only thing. Tell me about Gucci.
Oh, no, do they know Gucci? You've got a pretty classy...
I mean, I got a high-end audience. I know this is Chanel, but I don't want you cheating on your brand, but...
Yeah.
Tell me about Gucci, because I saw you in a Gucci ad that was just outrageous, and it seemed to be the most incredible thing I'd ever seen.
Well, thank you.
How did that happen? How did Gucci approach you, and what was shooting in the high fashion world like, as opposed to being in the rock and roll world? Are they similar, or is it totally different things?
They're similar and they overlap, and so I was not surprised when this came about. Now, I'd gotten a little bit of attention for playing guitar on the sidewalk.
Which is how that's how
Okay.
I discovered you on Instagram, a video of you playing in front of a store with the flower guitar, just absolutely shredding. I reposted it on my Instagram page, and it got like 400,000 views or something like that. And I was like, whatever it is she's doing, I want to know what it is. So obviously Gucci had the same thing. They discovered you kind of in the same way then.
Yes, I have been doing it in a resort town called Provincetown on Cape Cod. And I did it all summer, and I really enjoyed it. And at first I thought, this is a little wild. And I did it mostly for money. And money is not an issue for me typically because of how I've married.
14 marriages.
Marry well, ladies, if you can.
Chanel.
But at the time, I had made a couple of bad moves. My accountant had made a couple of bad moves because of Brexit. He blamed Brexit, and I said, I don't understand Brexit and
I don't
my
understand
money.
either, but it makes sense.
Yeah, and he said, no, you still have your money. It's in a hard drive in Antarctica. Your assets have been frozen. And I said, okay, because of law? And he's like, no, it's in an underground bunker in Antarctica, and because of climate change, it's much colder there than normal, and so the hard drive is so cold that they can't access it. They can't log into your money. And so I said, well, please dispatch some people to, break through the ice. And he's like, it's going to take months. The ice is like a layer, and it's like a geothermal thing. And so I was like, all right, well, please hurry. In the meantime, I have no money. I'm going to go onto the sidewalk. And I'm shredding for bucks. And your audience needs to hear this.
I want them to hear this. They need to know.
This is the most important message I can tell your audience. You don't have to be a shredder. You're a guitar lover if you're watching. What you need to know is I stepped out onto that sidewalk in front of non-guitar players, for the most part. People enjoying a day or a night on a resort town. Cape Codders. In Provincetown for the day. They would come across me and would be struck. And they would say, I don't even know or like this music typically, but I enjoy watching you. And some of them said, I used to love this music. It used to be played on the radio. I loved it. I loved to hear the fast playing, the Edward Van Halen. They don't play it on the radio anymore. You can't hear it. Well, now you're hearing it on the sidewalk. And they would sit and watch And at first I thought, oh, they'll just think I'm just some crazy lady and it's a gimmick and it's just for fun. But they would sit and watch and love the Voodoo Child and the blues playing. And I thought, I've heard the guitar is dead, but I'm taking it to the people and they want it.
I have the same thing. People, it's not dead. People
It's
want
not
it.
dead. They want it, and there's a layer of probably executives that we got to get out of the way. And so I was playing on the sidewalk, and Gucci saw me, Petra Collins, a fashion it girl, saw me playing on the sidewalk, approached me. Of course I said, you know, is this for real?
No.
And then I checked out her Instagram, and I thought, wow. And she creates such brilliant visions. And she said, a fashion shoot with you with your guitar. So I pictured myself in New York City, you know, maybe a fanciful background, or you know, and flowing things and a wind machine or something. Then I get the email from Gucci, Italy. Travel, subject line, all caps. Please send travel details for Budapest shoot, Petra Collins. Budapest. And we flew to Budapest. I stayed in the Four Seasons Hotel.
Oh man, Gucci's
And
good.
it was gorgeous. And they had there was 2 days of shooting, and the most amazing shoot was in the Gellert Baths, an ancient bath house there. And they had all these lights, and that was when I thought, is this happening in Hungary? Because there's like low union, there's no unions. It's like, you know, a giant light, and they're like, stand on that water, stand on that water. I'm like, I don't think any of the I want my Teamsters. Where are my Teamsters? Because I trust them, you know. Where's IATSE? Hello. And I'm thinking, you know, there's just some kid over there, you know what I mean? And he's twitching, like he doesn't look quite right, and he's gonna knock that light. So they set up all these lights, and they had me standing on a platform. If you see the video, I'm standing on the water, and I'm on a platform, and I'm wearing platform shoes, which I normally don't wear, in this outlandish Gucci outfit. And I had brought my flower guitar, and then I brought a white other gem guitar, Gem Junior, which is a little bit lower cost.
Compact body,
yeah. It's a little bit lower cost, and I thought, Lord, oh Lord, if I fall in this water, I'm gonna ruin this beautiful white guitar. And I thought Gucci would probably pay for it. So I'm standing and I'm going for it, and I'm in a sauna. I'm in a sauna. And I've got all these clothes on, and I'm thinking, I was like, I can't do another take. And Petra is screaming out, it looks amazing, you look amazing. She's looking in the monitor, you look amazing. I'm like, okay, a couple more takes, Mrs. Smith, are you okay? And they had frogmen, and I was like, I'm okay. And I thought to myself, Mrs. Smith, you've been lonely your whole life. You've lived in these empty marriages surrounded by high society. You've wanted creative friends. You've wanted to be surrounded by passionate people who are making art, and you finally got it. So kid, don't give up now. The cameras are rolling. You asked for this by stepping out onto that sidewalk, so give them all. And when I was done the next day, they said, they were all British, the production company. They said, we don't know how you had all that energy. And I said, I never stop, and I can't stop, and I won't stop.
That's Gucci.
That's Gucci.
It's a great story. What is it about Italians in you? Because Gucci's not the only Italian company. Let's talk amps, because, I mean, we've talked about the guitars. Obviously, Ibanez guitars are a big part of your sound. What is the amplifier that we're using currently here? What's your rig? Let's talk rig. Let's rig talk. We get the Ibanez guitars. Walk me through the rest of the Mrs. Smith rig, or the typical, you know, if you're playing out the typical Mrs. Smith rig.
Let me take you on a journey to beautiful Italy. You stop in a little town called Agnesi and meet a man named Pierangelo Mezzabarba. Pierangelo Mezzabarba is, I've dubbed him the king of tone, the king of rock tone. The king of rock tone. I've dubbed
When we say rock tone, we're talking about distorted rock guitar. We're not talking about the clean sound. We're talking about Shredville. We're talking about
Shredville, but we're also talking about your brown sound. There we go, Edward. We're talking about the Edward sound, which is how do I get saturation with clarity? How do I get saturation with fullness? How do I get saturation to do all I want to do with the legato and the speed picking and the whammy bar screams, but not have it attack the ears?
The ice pick.
The ice pick, I've heard the ice pick. Okay, the amp companies will go nameless. I'm not here to disparage anyone, even though they disparaged me on stage in Miami in front of people. I will not disparage. I do blur out logos if I have to for archival footage, but I will not disparage on a public platform. I'm not going negative, but I'll say there are ice pick amps, and you're on stage with them going like, oh gosh, how does this sound in the house? Because this is killing me up here. Not with Mezza Barba. So Pierangelo is a genius and an artist of electronics, of transistors and tubes, and someone said recently they opened up one of his amplifiers and they said no one has any business putting this many high-end parts inside of an amplifier. And I thought, I do, because don't you know that sound is going into your fans' ears? You want to make sure that it's a good sound. So what you get with Mezza Barba is that, I'm going to turn on the high gain here, on this double thing here.
The humbucker.
Yes,
the humbucker,
this is the humbucker of this thing. And so we get a little... I'm denuding myself of jewelry. Because the maid's at home. Yeah, she'll walk in there eventually and turn it off. She knows to check the iron. Listen to this. What should I do? A little Edward?
But it'd be like something. It's brown. That's the brown sound.
And all the purists are gonna be like, she's not tuned down to E flat. Stop her.
Oh,
someone stop her. Guess what? That's actually pretty hard.
He's good.
You know that one?
Oh,
Joe Satriani.
Oh.
Coming in with the big royalty checks. Hear that?
Wait. It's an A, right?
darling.
I know, we're like, I want to regain this. You have so much gain, and I'm playing.
So with my band, we were playing this guy in the comments was like, all caps, play it right, play it right. Well, no, what it is that he's tuned down to D on the E string, but then the whole guitar is tuned down to E flat. So it's really. But I can't retune the guitar in the middle of a show, and I don't.
Not with that. How important? Let's just keep talking. How important is the Floyd or the locking tremolo to you? Which again, something not necessarily in vogue.
Well,
how important is that to you as a term of expression?
First of all, this guitar, because of this whammy bar, can make the sound of a kitty cat. So other whammy bars cannot make that kitty cat sound because they're not situated properly. You know, they don't have it. You know, so you get that kitty cat sound. This is very important to me. First of all, it does stay in tune fairly well, and you can go down. This is my favorite trick. Right?
Yeah. I mean, the strings are really laying on the floor.
Sounds like the Titanic. I bet when they were on the Titanic, you're like, what's that sound?
What's that sound?
Like, well, I was talking to Lord Fauntleroy, and you know, he was really...
Iceberg, dead end!
I'm the lone survivor of the Titanic. Lone survivor of the Titanic. No one cares about me. No one's gonna tell my tale. I'm the lone survivor. So you can go down.
I mean, not to be a dick or anything, but I'm pretty sure there's more than one. I mean, Kate Winslet was not the only survivor on the Titanic. I don't think it was.
Right, but that story was revealed to be an utter fraud, and in a way, yeah, the whole thing.
Fuck it, never mind.
Yeah,
we'll
because I knew that girl. So
okay, we talked about amps.
Yeah.
Obviously, Ibanez guitar into a Mezzo-bar is kind of the magic combination for Mrs. Smith. What goes in between the guitar and the amp? Because I'm looking. Obviously, a wah-wah pedal is a must. But what else? Are there any other key ingredients?
I'm #1 wah-wah abuser, and I challenge right now, Kurt Hammett. You're out there. I know you're watching.
In internet land, he's public enemy #1 on the overuse of the wah pedal. You think you use it more?
I abuse the wah more than Kirk Hammett, and I've challenged him multiple times to a waff.
And no response.
Waff. No response.
Really?
No response. Why are you hiding behind your wah-wah pedal, Kirk Hammett? You think you can't handle this? Kirk Hammett, why are you hiding? Kirk Hammett, say a prayer. I'm coming with you. I don't want you away. I'm gonna wah you away. But then I think we'd be friends. I think we'd shake hands. I think he's absolutely one of the sweetest kids ever.
One of my biggest influences, to be perfectly honest with you.
James Hetfield is looking good.
Just leave it at that. Don't like you even know who the hell that is.
You know what?
Jen doesn't know anything. She's just.
I
She's
don't.
here for the voice. For the voiceover. So what else other than the wah? We're talking wahs.
Very
but what
little.
else? Is there anything else? There's a pretty simple, chain. Not
I
a
do
big
not.
pedal.
Okay, first of all, I don't use the modeling things. I mean, I do model. I do some modeling.
Well, modeling, but not.
I do
amp
some modeling, but I don't do amp modeling. I use, this is an all-tube amplifier. I have a 30 watt Skilled Mesobarba that I use for gigs. I put it through a 4x12. It sounds incredible.
Any specific 4x12? Is it usually provided by the venue? There's like a Marshall cab, or there's
exactly
you're
a Mach
in New York,
5,
right? Yeah.
exactly
It's,
a Mach 5. A Marshall is.
Yeah.
Will, I mean, cut that. Just obliterate the words. Don't cut it.
Okay, start over.
3, 2, 1. You plug it in any cab you want. You're gonna be a cabinet with a horrible name. It could be a cabinet that would typically stab your ears with an ice pick on stage in Miami with cruel words and cruel people. But with the Mesobarba connected to it, it will sound amazing. And so this is a 100 watt M0 overdrive. It is the monster beast.
This is the big.
It does not need much. And I mean, I was talking to Pier Angelo about it. I said, Pier, I don't understand this. Why is this happening? He brought me all through Italy.
No.
We drove through the hills. We were driving through the hills of Italy, and we saw a white sun. And I said, Pierre, is that a moon? Is that the moon behind a cloud? Is that an early moon rising? And he said, he's a white sun. He's a mystery I've never seen before. Le Solare Blanca. He's a mystery. And I said, wow. I mean, that's what it's like to be with him. He's a poet of tone. But I said, Pierre, I don't understand. I am so dainty. I'm such a little lady. I'm such a proper lady. Why am I playing these monster amps? And he said, you could only play this. Now, I had a little delay. You know, I like a little bit of that. I like a little delay.
Just a quick slap, kind of just something to texture it
a little
up.
space. I've got a wah-wah here.
What wah do you use? It's a Crybaby.
It's a Dunlop
95Q. With
95Q. When you step on it, it works. You don't have to click it on. The button is.
You don't have to like stomp down to get it.
It's like here. Why don't you read this, Harlequin romance while you're shredding on guitar at the same time, trying to keep track of that button? Is it on? Is it off? I heard a click. And then I'd be playing and I think I would hear it click, but I hadn't stepped on it. I'm not even near it.
So this just naturally springs back. When you put your foot down, it's on.
Do you want to show it? I love it. It's very heavy. So what I do is I always put it in my purse when I get on a flight. And that is a surefire way to get stopped by TSA. Because they look at it and it's got like a battery thing, and it's got a spring, and it's got grease in there, and it's like, oh, what is this, the fuel for the explosion? So you just have to get used to that. And then, but this is very heavy. So I would love to meet with them to talk about maybe some lightweight alloys. Because what's happening now is the kids are flying around. The kids are flying. And so you've got to be able to pack all this stuff into a suitcase. And you picture with me, you're also including several skirt suits, several ball gowns,
the jewelry,
beauty care, the
makeup,
jewelry, makeup, the guitar, and then this wah-wah. And so things do have to be portable. I think that is why the modeling amps are popular. Because they're easy to fly, they're easy to carry, and that makes sense to me.
Do you feel the difference? Like I was posting on Instagram this morning, I was talking a lot of shit about Kempers and Axe Effects and stuff, because talking shit on Instagram is a close personal pastime hobby of mine.
You gotta stir the pot.
Hey man, I love this. I love to hear people talk shit. Love to read the comments. Do you notice the difference?
Yes.
I feel like I notice the difference too. And people go, "You're crazy. You put the sound away." It's not about the sound. For me, it's about the feel. What is the difference for you between plugging into like a Line 6 or a Kemper or whatever, as opposed to plugging into a real tube amp that's loud and live and doing the thing? Does it make you play the guitar differently? Just knowing
To me, and this is not to disparage anybody, and again, I understand that.
I'll do the disparaging. You don't have to disparage anything.
A lot of these
I will
kids,
do the disparaging.
A lot of these kids they're flying around, and they've got to have a portable solution. They can't. Maybe they could bring a lunchbox. Some of them are lunchboxes. They're smaller, but to me, the modeling amplifiers, even when they sound good, they still sound like the idea of electric guitar. The idea of an electric guitar. It's a concept almost. A conceptualization. And what's so interesting is what is being conceptualized is this.
What they're trying to achieve is
yes,
what
it's
already
a conceptualization
exists.
of this.
Real
so
thing.
why would you not just have this? Oh, and what Pierangelo said to me, he said, oh, you know, we were in Florence, next to a gorgeous cathedral that took 300 years to build. And he said to me, oh, the guitar players say they can't lug these heavy tube amps to their gigs. He's like, I'm glad the workers who built this church didn't say that. He's like, it's not that heavy. And I have got to have that heaving behind me. I've got to have that vibration and that wood shaking and those tubes burning. I've got to feel that behind me on stage. Even if the stage volume is very low and everything's being mic'd and put out into the house, I still want to feel that wood shaking. And I just don't, I think perhaps those things are very good for like effects, like delay and things like that. I don't know.
I don't get it. So I want to talk, you have your first, I mean, it's like your debut solo, is it album, EP?
It's an EP. And
how many songs? On
5.
5 songs, so okay, 5 songs.
So I've hired a marketing firm to come up with the moniker Long Awaited. Because I don't have critical acclaim yet, I can't add that. Although the New York Times did call me oddly poignant.
I'll take it.
You can look that up. So I thought long-awaited EP, 5 songs. 4 of them are instrumental rock guitar.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why I'm creating music in that genre. I just thought, well, I'll try it. And then there's one song where I do sing. I mean, I do sing quite a bit in my live show with my band. And those are originals, but a lot of them are kind of reinterpreted covers or song stylings. But people don't know me very much as a singer, but I was able to write a song for myself to sing, which I never thought I'd be able to do. And it was an absolute breakthrough. It was this, I will play a little bit of this riff. It was this riff that I had this riff forever. And I never knew what to do with it, and it's interesting. Isn't that interesting?
Sparky.
And then it goes. Around, and I wrote some lyrics about my traumatic childhood, of course, and there's a song called Cat Jam about Carlisle, and there's a song called Bob Ross Technique, which is the first single from the album about my favorite painter, Bob Ross. And then in between there are little like skits, little moments, slices of life. So it comes out September 14th. And there's a...
Cross platforms, or is there a specific platform that we should be looking at on iTunes or Spotify?
It hasn't gone platinum yet. I mean...
platform, in terms of where they can find the album.
Oh, well, and I don't know, maybe we put this to the multiverse. I got on this debate about Spotify. I don't know, because it will be available for a digital download and CDs, and there are going to be things like the Mega Ultra Meow Pack, for instance, which is like a digital download, CD, T-shirt, poster, little button, backing tracks. Because I'm releasing some of the songs with backing tracks for the fans to shred.
To go shred over top of. Very cool idea.
And then there's like the Ultra Pack and all this stuff. But I can't decide about Spotify because I just feel like I'm being ripped off. Yeah. So maybe I'll post it on Spotify later. I'm not really sure. But there's a premiere video, the music video, Bob Ross Technique, is directed by my friend Drew Kaufman. It's really fun.
I saw some behind the scenes stuff of that. I do kind of
I'm gonna show you
Instagram stalk you occasionally, but I did see some behind the scenes footage. It looks like it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yes, so I'll show it to you. I'll show you the rough cut later. Just
probably.
you're in the biz, so like it's easy. It's like no brainer, like because you're in the biz and getting in the biz. It's like you gotta keep people in the loop, and you're gonna send them all that kind of stuff. So, and Annie Golden from Orange Is the New Black. Is a brilliant singer, and she's a dear friend. She's in the video. People will spot her in the video. So I'm gonna put it out there. This is a big. This was not what I pictured for my life at all. So it's just sort of...
So a bit of a late start, we'll just say.
Yeah, and the songs, they really did emerge out of just, this is what is inside of me right now. So I'm excited to share it and get people listening. And I know the fans are eagerly anticipating it, so.
Describe to me, just to kind of wrap this up, because if someone's out there and they see that Mrs. Smith is playing, what can they expect what is the spectacle that is the live experience of a Mrs. Smith show? Is it all shred? I've seen some stuff. Is there a little bit of a history lesson with shred, with the whole experience of shred guitar? What exactly would you say? And I don't want to blow it for people who haven't seen it yet, but like, what can people expect other than blazing guitar playing? What else is going on?
That is part of it. I will sometimes be drawn to that point. There's storytelling. There is... what's so odd to me is that people call it comedy, but to me, whenever they're laughing, I'm being dead serious. It's sort of like, okay, well, I identify more as like a stand-up tragedian, but if you wish to call it comedy, so be it. And so there will be music. There will be interaction. There's often little games with the audience. There's videos, funny videos. And it really varies, often depending upon the venue. If it's a rock club, I'll really go more for a rock show. If it's a theater venue, it might be more like a theater piece. Mm-hmm. With my band, we have a kind of set show, and I go back in time, and we take Prince songs and Van Halen, and even like a little Taylor Swift, and ABBA, and we mix them up and smash them together, and there's always plenty of guitar playing.
Yeah.
But what I find interesting is that my audience is not comprised of solely guitar players, and so I always want to have there be variety. To have a little story, a little fun, a little poignancy.
So it's almost like a one-woman show, but
Yes.
there's a backup band.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
What do you have, just to wrap it up here, because we could talk forever, but what do you have to say to aspiring shred guitar players out there who are really into the genre, even though it's not necessarily all the research shows that about 50% of guitar players are females, but yet there's this whole stigma about being she's good for a girl, or she's good for this and that kind of thing. I mean, do you have anything to say about
regarding
that?
female players, women guitarists do not have to sound like male guitarists. They can, if they wish.
No.
But they don't. The male style of playing is not the standard. It's just the most predominant. And so a female player can play however she likes. And the other thing is that, look, there's also a lot of different kinds of male guitar players.
Wow.
There are male guitar players who could never play like Nita Strauss. There are male guitar players who could never play like Jennifer Batten or Lisa X. And you could flip that, for instance, Kim Deal from The Breeders is one of my favorite guitar players. Why? Because her tone is amazing. Her songwriting is beautiful and brilliant. She makes an incredible noise, but she's not shredding. She's playing chords, but she gets that huge sound through those beautiful vintage amps and those old guitars, and she worships at very much the same altar that you do, but she's a rock and roll mama. So I don't see. I think that men should play guitar, women should play guitar, anyone in between should play guitar, and play what you want to play. And here's the thing, you might hear someone and go for what they do, and then what happens is you actually end up getting into your own style. So yeah, if you like a certain player, go for it, learn their stuff, or I always say don't learn it exactly. Learn the feeling of it, or the idea, but don't learn it precisely. I could never follow the tablature. It's so confusing with the numbers and everything. Don't learn it exactly, but get the idea across. So I played Surfing with the Alien all the time by Joe Satriani. When I play that song on the sidewalk, heads snap
No.
to attention because the charisma of the melody. Now, I don't know how he plays the melody, but I play it for how it works with my fingers. I might play it differently. I don't replicate every little lick because I can't.
Why
But
would you?
I come
Yeah.
up with something that's kind of the same idea. It's the same, like, hey, look at this. I'm playing something kind of is exotic sounding. It sounds like ancient Egypt here. And then I go into a blues thing. It sounds like surfer rock. And so I say to people, play what you want to play. Connect to what you love. You know, if you love old movies, or if you love Japanime, or if you love gaming, or if you love painting, do that with music, or combine it.
No.
Do something different, and have fun with it, and don't game it out. Like, I think there's often commentators, if I may, there's often commentators who, this is a gimmick. Mrs. Smith is trying to get attention. Desperate. Plea. Attention seeker. The number one attention seeker. All this kind of stuff. This I'm on a pure creative adventure. Nothing I'm doing is gamed out to figure how do I get these people to whatever. And as a result, why would I ever be brought into contact with someone such as you?
First of all guitar players are attention seekers, and don't ever let that get anything you say. You're all trying to get attention. That's all that it's
Right.
ever been about.
Guitar Center, Saturday afternoon.
Norman's Rare Guitars any day of the week. Everybody's trying to get attention. Everybody's got their gimmick, and that's all I got to say about it. Yeah, blues noodles, kids. It's all about the blues noodles. Mrs. Smith, I got to tell you, the first time I saw a video, I fell in love with you. I love everything that you're doing. Getting to sit and talk to you here today makes me fall in love with it a little bit more, and I'm really behind everything you're doing. I want to thank you so much for coming by today.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for spending your time in LA with us. Make sure you check out Mrs. Smith's debut EP. We're not sure where it's going to be available yet, but just buy the damn thing.
It's
Get on
gone
the
platinum
Spotify.
already. It's platinum.
It's already platinum in Japan. Just go buy a damn copy of it, man.
Buy
Stop
it.
leasing your music and go buy it. It's $1 a song. Go buy
Own
the
it.
damn thing. Own it.
Own your choices.
Seriously. Thank you so much for coming by. It's
Thank
been
you,
a
Mark.
joy. Have a good one, guys. Cheers.
Bye.